Hey, what's up, guys? Jag from Jaggy Sports. And first day of the NBA playoffs, you have Denver taking on the Golden State Warriors. Stephen Curry might come back, possibly, so I'm going with Stephen Curry. Luka is out for the game one and most likely game two. Dallas Mavericks are facing the Utah Jazz, and I don't know, kind of rolling with the Jazz on this one because Luka's not there, right? Minnesota versus Memphis. Wow, this is gonna be an awesome matchup. Like, you have got to see this. Two up and coming teams, two hungry teams, and if you guys saw that matchup with the Clippers versus Patrick Beverly and the Timberwolves, you know that this is gonna be a feisty matchup. Make sure you watch that one. And tonight's main event is the Sixers taking on the Raptors. Why do I say main event? Trade deadline is gone, and Sixers got their man James Harden, gave up a lot to get him, gave up their bench and everything like that. So all the pressure, I think, is on James Harden tonight. Check this clip out.
We got after it these last couple of days. A lot of yelling, a lot of physicality, which is good. We need it. It's kind of just thrown into a situation where we're trying to figure it out. But now we're square on a lot of things, offensively and defensively.
These last few days have been great. Just we're again on the same page, going up against each other. I think we started to find the right balance of how to play together. I think everybody understands their role, and that's how we're going to win.
Kendrick Perkins and Brian Windhorst with me. Look at this, a full house. Let me start with you, Windy. You heard what Harden and Embiid said yesterday after practice. I mean, let me tell you why I'm buying what they're selling here a little. If it wasn't for the last minute, nothing would get done, right? And James Harden seems to me to be a bit externally motivated, a little motivated by that external deadline. Mm-hmm. But they seem kind of natural talking about it. I kind of buy it. What do you say, Windy?
Yeah, and today they stayed extra at Sixers practice and shot on the floor. This is cramming for the exam. I definitely agree. But when you dig into the numbers, Embiid and Harden actually played pretty well together when they were on the court over this last month and a half. Their numbers improved as they played together. The problem came when Embiid would go to the bench and Harden would be out there with the second unit. Especially recently, the Sixers got slaughtered in those situations. So, especially because Andre Drummond was a very effective backup to Embiid, and they lost him, replaced him with DeAndre Jordan. So one thing that you want to watch coming into this series is what Doc Rivers decides to do there, about whether or not he actually staggers Embiid and Harden. I mean, that's common sense to play one of your superstars at all times, but he may go away from that. He may play them more together and hand the reins over to Tyrese Maxey with the second unit. And the reason that's interesting to me is because the 76ers were ready to trade Kyle Lowry to the Raptors were ready to trade Kyle Lowry to the Sixers last year, but they wanted Tyrese Maxey. The Sixers wouldn't give him up, so he's still a Sixer, and he could play a big role against the Raptors in this series.
Perk, I mean, Tyrese Maxey has shown what he is made of in this season. They kind of have a big three in my view. But Perk, James Harden was so good last year with the Nets, even without KD and Kyrie. He says he doesn't feel any pressure in these playoffs. First of all, what happened to James Harden? And secondly, what does he have to prove in these playoffs?
Oh, he has everything to prove. I mean, just for the fact that he left KD and Kyrie, that's one thing. But the second thing is, you didn't go to Philly not to have pressure. It's almost like that Russell Westbrook take when he was like he had no expectations when arriving to the Lakers. No, James Harden, you have expectations, and it is pressure on you. In certain cities, in certain organizations, you can't get away with that type of talk. So at the end of the day, I think James Harden knows what he has to go out there and do. But the great part about it is that James Harden doesn't have to be the man. Oh, that's why you have Joel Embiid. So James Harden could be a little bit lesser version of himself from the Houston days, and Philadelphia still could be successful because you have Joel Embiid, the big Philly.
Yeah, and with 3 guys, because Maxey can really play, no more all-bench units for Doc. That's what did him in last year. I don't care what anyone says, even more than Ben Simmons. Wendy, what's the X factor in this series?
Yeah, the X factor to me is how that Sixers bench holds up. Because, I mean, they obviously traded away a lot of their depth to get James Harden. And for those games in Toronto, Matisse Thybulle is not going to be there. So you're knocking down farther down the bench. So, again, this is where Maxey is there. They're going to need his scoring. They're going to need his playmaking. Toronto is a team that thrives on forcing steals. They lead the league in creating steals. They're not good in the half court. So who's ever in there has got to take care of the ball. They cannot get boat raced when Embiid and Harden are on the bench. If they do that, if they play even with their second unit, they will win the series because their top end talent is greater than the Raptors.
Yeah, Maxey, by the way, does an unbelievable job considering how often he has the ball, how efficient he is, not turning the ball over. Wendy, talking about taking care of the ball. Perk, I want to get back to James Harden. What the hell happened to James Harden? Last year, I thought game for game, he was easily the best player in the league. When he was with Brooklyn, he played a genius-level point guard. Is it simply he wasn't in shape? Is this something he can get back, or is that Harden gone forever, do you think?
I don't think it's going forever, Max. To me, I thought James Harden was doing a great job of actually feeding Joel Embiid. The last part of the season, I honestly believe that James Harden was trying to help Joel Embiid win the scoring title. I honestly believe that James Harden was trying to help Joel Embiid win the MVP. And so when I looked the way he was playing, he wasn't aggressive. Like, you could go look at the stats and the numbers in those games. He was taking 10 shots, 8 shots, 12 shots. He wasn't putting up 21 shots and things to that nature, but the assists were there. So I think James Harden knows that regular season James Harden is gone. I think he's ready to embrace the challenge. I think he's hearing all the noise, all the people that are counting him out, counting Philly out at the moment, and I think he will rise to the occasion. Max, Wendy, this is a question that I have to ask you guys. We talk about Joel Embiid. We talk about Tyrese Maxey. We talk about James Harden. It's another guy over there that is getting paid max lettuce, and Tobias Harris. We have to hold him accountable to some extent as well. He has to come out and produce this postseason and put up numbers. Where the hell has he been?
Wendy, quickly, because we're running short on time, but all Tobias has to be is a good 4th best offensive player on the team. He should be able to handle that, Wendy.
He's got to defend Pascal Siakam, too, which is a big ask. But, hey, listen, Perk, I know Harden was only taking 10 or 12 shots for this last few weeks, but he was missing 70% of them. So if he's ready to turn it on, I'd like to see him with some efficiency back.
Yeah, and by the way, defending anyone is not – I mentioned this to a coach once. I won't say who. I said, Tobias Harris is at least versatile defensively. And the coach told me, yeah, he can't guard all 5 positions. Guys, thank you very much.
So I think that all the pressure is on James Harden tonight because, he's not the same guy as he was about 5 years ago. You have to admit that. He is not the same guy. Yet, the whole media keeps saying, he's playing horrible. Well, if you take a look at the standings and if you take a look at the games played, he didn't do too bad. There's a couple games where he went like 2-10, 4-10, stuff like that. But take a look at the assists and whatnot. It's all hidden behind Joel Embiid. But, my prediction for this game tonight, this is why I love live betting. This is why I love live betting, because of the fact that even in the second half, you can bet on who is gonna perform, who's gonna win the game. But I personally think that it's I gotta roll with the Sixers on this one, just because they're at home, just because they have MVP Joel Embiid, just because they have Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey will be the it factor for sure. And at the end of the day, you have to consider the fact that Toronto Raptors, their length is crazy. They have no pressure. Nobody expected them to be this good in this season. Nobody did, except for the Raptors and the Raptors fans. The media didn't expect them to be that good. They are that good this year, and they have no pressure. The pressure is all on James Harden. But I think I think the Raptors will keep it close. But at the end of the day, I think the Sixers will pull this one off. So leave a comment in the comment. Leave a comment in the comment section and tell me what you think. Who will win tonight's game between the Raptors and the Sixers? It's going to be a feisty matchup because Raptors have so much good for them. Everybody, the whole media is talking about James Harden unfolding and basically, not playing to the level that he was 5 years ago. Well, it's all about adaptability and flexibility. He's not the same guy, but then again, you have to consider the fact that he hasn't played with another MVP in a long time. He played with Durant and Kyrie, but I think they played like 11 games together. That's it. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect, but I just know that I'm going to take the Sixers on this one for game one. And leave a comment in the comment section. Tell me what you guys think. Who will win tonight's game? The Raptors or the Sixers? Jag from Jaggy Sports.